I'm Tracy Aikett, a child life specialist here at McMaster Children's Hospital, and I'm really excited to have an opportunity to spend some time with Rob to show him about our role here at McMaster Children's.
So when we do a preparation, my preparation is geared to the developmental age of the child, not their chronological age. So how are they coping in the moment? This could be a 14-year-old who's really acting like a 9-year-old right now because they're just so stressed. They're so out of their element that I need to minimize sort of the simplicity of what they need to understand to help them get through it.
I was so pleased to meet with Tracy Aikett today, and she's obviously very passionate about the work that she does, and you can see why. It's so important, the work of our child life specialists. From my perspective, they're such great enablers for everybody who works around them. Doctors and nurses and techs, their jobs are made so much easier by the preparatory work that Tracy and her colleagues do here.
Our thought here is we don't want to hold kids down for any tests or procedures. They need to be informed about what's going to take place,
right.
Work through those stresses that they identify. So when we do a medical play preparation, we use these dolls. This is what they look like when our volunteers sew them for us. We actually have the patient start the IV on the doll. So real medical equipment. They use the alcohol wipe to clean. They use a real IV cannula to go ahead and start with the needle, and of course it's all hand over hand in a very safe way. We show them the needle, we talk about the plastic straw that remains in your arm, and we tape it down, and then this becomes theirs to keep. By going through this process, we can identify for the patient what the steps are and help them build coping strategies. So for a child, it's stressful to think about the tight tourniquet on their arm. We talk about how we can make that easier by putting their sleeve down or something as a barrier between. If they're afraid about the needle, we talk about the needle's function so that they at least understand why we have to use it. We can't change that, but if we can have them understand why, then they don't feel like we've tricked them in the end. And for me, when I'm preparing a patient to learn about blood work or an IV, I'd like to think that I can do it this one time, and maybe the next time in the community, if they had to go again, we've learned together, and they can do it alone at that point. So it's really promoting or empowering a family to be able to do that on their own afterwards.
We have our Bravery Bead program, and these are all children who are oncology patients. And we have a legend here, and a different color bead represents a different part of their care. So it could be that they've had a poke, a visit to the emergency department is the lightning bolt. It could be their very first bead that many of our oncology patients receive is actually the home bead, and that's because you've had a stay of 30 days or greater, and that's not unusual for some of our oncology patients when they first are diagnosed. And ultimately the bead that every family hopes for is this one, the rainbow, because it's the end of treatment. I was thinking of sort of what I could give you to think of the patient, so I created this for you. So your name is on this, and that's one of every single bead that we have for the patients, and you can keep this legend as sort of something to think about from this day.
Thanks. The child life specialists, what they do so well is really focus on the needs of our patients and really try to see through their eyes the experience that they're going through and help them to cope with it as best they possibly can. And I think that's a great lesson for everybody here at HHS. Each one of our patients, I think, deserves that kind of understanding and empathy and support. So thanks to Tracy for teaching that lesson today.
I think truly the biggest message I'd want people to understand of what we do is that our role is to help patients cope. It's amazing when that truly from your education and your gut is the role of your job. You're just so passionate about it. Patient care, patient experience is truly the heart of what we do.